Hey, Lashpreneurs, happy Monday to you. Let's talk money mindset. I love the mindset stuff. You guys know that by now. That is something that really, the reason why I talk about mindset so much is because that is what has been the biggest impact, not only in my business, but in my life and how I've evolved and grown, is working on what I can control, which is, what's between the ears. And I want to address money specifically today because there's so much work we can do around money and beliefs and behaviors around money. So if you don't know by now, God, I hope you do, this whole charge your worth conversation just really nails on a chalkboard to me, because especially for women, tying anything external to our worth, especially when it comes to money, which is a real trigger point for most people, I think it's a pretty toxic saying that is thrown around far too often in our industry. Because what does it actually mean? What does it mean to charge your worth? Are we assigning dollar values to our worth now? Do we mean charge for your skill set? Well, how are we supposed to figure that out? Because there is no standard, right? It's anybody out here is doing lashes, right? Even if you have a certificate or a certification from a well-known educator or well-known brand, doesn't mean you're any better at doing lashes than somebody who taught themselves, right? The charge your worth conversation is so meaningless, yet it's like the war cry of these Facebook groups. So I want to give you some actionable steps to take with your mindset around money for you to identify what you should be charging or how you should be viewing your price point and your place in your market, right? Like you've got all these competitors, they're charging a certain price. Well, I can't charge more than them because their work's better than me, or I don't want to be the most expensive in the area, but I want to be the cheapest, and all the stuff that comes around it. So the first thing to really get clear on and really understand is that money is neither good nor bad. Money has zero goodness or badness to it. It is a piece of paper in most countries, maybe it's a coin where you're at, that really, if we didn't assign the meaning that this can get me something in exchange for it, it would be a piece of paper. We could even frame it, right? And be like, look at this piece of artwork I have on my wall. But it's the meaning that we as individuals and as a society give it that somehow has all of this meaning to it of whether it's good or bad. Having lots of money is good. Maybe some of you having lots of money, you feel like people that have a lot of money are bad. There are so much meanings that we put on this piece of paper, or a number on a screen when we're checking our bank account, or when we look at our sales versus money coming in versus money going out, we assign it a meaning. What the cool thing is, if you really get present to the thoughts you think and being present to how you feel whenever you're talking about money, looking at bills, looking at your sales, anything like that, when you came into this world as a wee bitty baby on that rainy day, how many ever years ago, you had zero understanding of money. You had no fears. I think the only fears that baby have are like being dropped and loud noises are the only things that babies fear. Everything else that you currently fear or have a meaning assigned to at this present point in your life was a learned or an adapted behavior based on an experience, likely from your parents, right? God bless them. They really messed all of us up, but they had best intentions, most of them. But really, it's a learned thing. So however you feel about money, however you treat money is a learned experience. The reason why this is a great thing to recognize about yourself is because if you learned it, you can unlearn it and you can change the meaning and the perspective, because you are a grown adult now who has free thought, and you can look at your life and see the things that are working for you and working for your good and the things that you want in life, and dismiss the things that are not working well for you and change your beliefs about those. That's how powerful your mind is. So let's just go through this. And I've done this exercise a couple of times. I think I've done it on the podcast before. I've definitely done it on social media. But let me just give you an example of how we can change the meaning of money. All right, so if I said, I've got this car for you and it's going to cost you $50,000, but I need the money by tomorrow, could you do it? Most of you are like, frick no, like what? I'm not paying 50 grand for a car, even if I did have the money for it, right? Why is that? Well, a lot of you probably assigned a meaning that a car is like, if it's 50 grand, that's an expensive car. And I don't know that I see the value for it. right? I would say that's probably a pretty typical response. And most of you are like, I don't have that kind of money. Now, what if I said it was a 2022 Lamborghini, whatever, and the retail value for it is over $300,000, and you could turn around and sell that $50,000 that I'm charging you for it and make a $250,000 profit off of it? Now, all of a sudden, are we like, I bet I could think of 4 or 5 different ways I could come up with 50 grand by tomorrow, even if it was a loan, or even if I had to like call that uncle of mine that I haven't talked to in forever, but he got money. Like, let's see, can I start a GoFundMe and donate 20% of that to charity and still have money left over, right? Like all of a sudden we start getting creative about how all of a sudden $50,000 is something we come up with real quick. What changed? Right? The $50,000 didn't change, but all of a sudden the value of that $50,000 changed. Right? It's that $50,000 that I put out there now all of a sudden turns into $250,000 of profit. All of a sudden $50,000 doesn't seem like so much. But the actual number, the actual amount of money I am asking from you did not change. So what changed? The possibility of what that money could do. All of a sudden $50,000 being too expensive for one thing, maybe a bad or a negative association to the money that I was asking you for, all of a sudden became an opportunity for you to be set up for a couple of years, right? With that kind of money that the $50,000 could turn into. So now all of a sudden that 50 grand, instead of being too expensive, was a steal of a deal. But nothing changed about the actual number. I didn't ask for more money when I told you that there was more value or more possibility of what that money could do for you. Your perspective of the money changed. Mind blown, right? So I want you to start doing this type of exercise anytime you start to have some negative or bad experiences with money. So let's say you're driving right now and all of a sudden, woo, you hear a cop behind you. You know, it's gonna be a ticket. Yep, you were speeding. You could go to court. You could hire an attorney, but like whatever, just pay the 100, 200 bucks, whatever a ticket costs these days. Now, instead of looking at it as, I owe this $100. I didn't have that money to spend, and now it's out of my pocket, and I don't have a choice, or I could risk going to prison, or whatever they do when you don't pay your tickets. Instead, we could look at it again, shifting to a positive spin is, well, I did break the law, so I'm going to take responsibility for that. My bad. Maybe that's the lesson I needed to learn to be safe so that I don't put somebody else in harm, or I don't harm myself. And that would cost me medical bills and, maybe lawsuits or a new car if I got in an accident. So that's one way of looking at it. Maybe I look at it as, well, paying the government so they can keep the roads paved and keep the schools open and, have all of these free government programs. I mean, political beliefs aside, when we pay taxes, it provides for us to live in the country we live in and have certain, safeties and firefighters and police officers and roads being paved and structure to our government and politicians and all that kind of stuff, which again, could be good or bad, but you can always change your perspective, not at what it's costing you, but what you're actually getting in return for the money. I do this exercise all the time, especially for those that are looking to work with me one-on-one or work in my mastermind. Those are expensive for some people. Every time I get on a call with someone that we're considering working together, I make sure, and this is a great exercise for you if you're talking with a potential client who wants to know your price point, I make sure that I understand what their value is before we ever talk about money. So if somebody wants to work with me one-on-one coaching and they're of a level that, I think it's a good idea, I think I can help them with what they're wanting to achieve, the question I always ask before I ever introduce price is, if we look 6 months down the road, a year down the road, and you're sitting there, call it a year from now, looking back on your year and going, man, that was the best investment I ever could have made, what would that look like? How would you define this being like the best investment you've ever made? And I get someone to get clear on why they want this investment. I understand their current pain points. We've talked through, the goals, but like really, how does looking at the investment into working with me or to getting a service or getting a product, how is that going to make your life better? What is the expectation you have going into it? Because then they're already clear on what the result is. I'm clear on the result, and I will tell them, yes, we can absolutely work towards that. I'm not guaranteeing anything because I can't make you do any work, but I can see where my skill sets and experience can help somebody get there. And then when I do bring up price, and chances are people are most likely, if they've never invested in coaching before, a little bit sticker shocked of like, whoa, that's a lot. But then we start to look at over 6 months, is it really that much? You know, so if working with me, your goal is to build out a team of 6 other team members and you currently have none, well, if over the next 6 months, I can get you working on getting 3 full-time team members in, and that's our goal for the next 6 months, is to get you 3 full-time team members. And then you'll have the systems and processes to copy and paste that ongoing from here forward, wherever you want to go. All of a sudden, no matter what I'm charging, we start to assign the value of what you're learning that you get to take with you forever to your results and your goals. So instead of looking at it as like, oh, that's expensive, now we get to look at how you can transform, evolve, grow, and become better for the investment into yourself, not into me. Same thing with your potential customers. If you understand, like, they feel, you know, not beautiful, they're insecure, they don't speak up for themselves, they don't want to put that, they hate getting on Zoom, they hate going out and like talking in a meeting because they just don't feel their best. And all of a sudden, if you understand that about them, and you charge $200 for a full set of eyelash extensions, but that really is going to help them feel more confident and feel more beautiful, all of a sudden you've opened up a world of opportunity for them to show up as themselves confidently. It's hard to put a price on that, right? But yet we get so nervous to put our price point out there, thinking, I'm just going to hear that it's too expensive. Maybe I need to lower my prices. You know, they're probably comparing me to some other girl down the street. Now I know her work is not as good as mine, or maybe I think her work is better than mine, but I've got bills to pay. And so we start assigning all of this meaning of what us charging somebody for the skill set that we worked very hard and we have worked on and perfected and slaved to perfect. We all of a sudden feel bad for charging anything for it, much less what we would consider a premium price point. Why is that? Well, chances are, if at any point you feel bad about charging a client or raising your prices, oftentimes this comes up, you feel bad for raising your prices, is that you are assigning your own money beliefs and your own value on yourself, your worth, your skill set, and you're making that decision for your client without their input whatsoever. Keep your hands out of your client's pocketbook, right? It is not up to you to make the financial decisions of where your client's money is best spent. It is your job to make sure that they understand the value, the benefits, and the results that your work can get them. But you don't get to decide whether $200 is too much or too little, whether $75 for an hour's worth of work is too much or too little. You don't get to decide that for them, because it would be irresponsible of you to only charge what you think somebody would be willing to pay for you. And that's why I think the whole charge your worth conversation is utter poo hockey. And yes, I said poo hockey. Because worth is discretionary per individual. While you may have one client who raves about you, who will be a longtime client, who will tell all of her friends about it, you will get another client in who's like, I don't ever want to do that again. That wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like the process. So 2 different values assigned to you and the exact same work that you provide. So should you cater to the person and be caught up in the person who didn't think it was worth it because they just didn't like lashes and they didn't like how they felt and they didn't like how they looked with them on? Or should you assign your price point to the value of the person that raves about you, that wants to, shout from the rooftops how life-changing that service was? The answer is neither, right? I mean, yes, we want the clients that rave about us, but your worth and value is not determined by them. When we're looking at a business, the whole point of having a business is to make money. So if you signed up for entrepreneurship, if you signed up for running a business, guess what? You signed up to make money. Accept it, right? In fact, you should be profitable, right? That's how you keep your doors open. That's how you feed your family. That's how you live and survive, but not just survive. Who wants a lash artist that's just surviving? Who wants anybody in their life that's just surviving? We want you to thrive. We may be jealous of it if we haven't done the internal work, but if somebody is thriving in life, isn't that proof that it's possible for us if we're not in a thriving state? You should want to be successful. You should want to have the lifestyle that other people dream of. because everybody else is spinning circles on their own circumstances and their victimhood when you could be out there thriving and living your best life, irregardless of whether somebody thinks you're deserving of it or not. It's not their call. So the money mindset piece that I want you to have as the takeaway from this episode is that money is neither good nor bad. Your price point is neither good nor bad. It's neither expensive nor cheap. You are assigning that value on your own mindset. And if whatever value you've given money in your business, in your life, in your world, on your clients is not serving you to motivate you, to make you feel good, to make you want to do more of it, to want to increase your income, your goals, your lifestyle, whatever it is that's of value to you, then change your perspective until it does. When you feel ick about money, that's your body's way saying you're out of alignment. That's your body's way of telling you, hey, the way that you're looking at this is not serving you, which is why we're putting up the anxiety flags and the fear, and we're making decisions from scarcity and lack instead of operating from a place of serving others, helping others feel beautiful. And yes, there is a cost that comes with that. You cannot pay for a location to do lashes in if you don't have the ability to pay for rent or a mortgage or wherever you are renting out. So there is a cost of you being able to provide the service. There is a cost to the supplies of what you are putting on someone to give that transformation. And there is a cost to you living in this world so that you can operate a business, right? There is a cost to taxes to be able to have a business in your city. There is a cost to you wanting to have a lifestyle where you're not so paycheck to paycheck and miserable, right? And to create a wonderful customer experience and for you to be a happy, joyous person. All of that in this modern day requires some sort of money. So it's okay for you to charge what you need to charge in order to live your best life and to provide an amazing service so that somebody can leave your business and feel amazing about themselves. And you should never have to apologize for charging what you charge or feel bad about it. And if you do, if raising your prices by 20% when you're fully booked and you are working 10 hours a day and you're taking clients 6 and 7 days a week and you're never around your family, why the heck are you prioritizing somebody else's value or your perceived value of what you think your clients will pay over your own life experience and the things that you want to do? Most of you got into business to have more freedom with your time and more freedom with your money. Yet the behaviors that you are currently doing in your business are getting you further and further away from that. Why? Why? Why are you making decisions and operating from a place of scarcity, fear, and lack in your business when the whole purpose of you going out on your own and being your own boss was to have more freedom? Likely because you've got some junk in your head that is making it difficult for you to see past your current circumstances. Because if you get to a place where you can look at the possibilities in your business, in your life, even when problems and obstacles come up or fear comes up, what is the possibility? What is the situation where you win? Where you get everything, not just, you have to sacrifice your family time and all that while your kids are young so you can hustle and have a great life later. No, where's the possibility where you have a great family life? You're making a really good income. You're feeling stable. You're feeling secure. Where's the possibility and the situation that you get to win? And that all ties back to your mindset. It does, because there's limiting beliefs, there's toxic money beliefs, there's meanings that we assign to things that we're not even present to until you've listened to this episode that are not serving you to move towards a future where you get to win. So that's your little kick in the butt today. I want you to DM me, actually. I would love to hear either how this episode impacted you, where you're struggling, or what winning is going to look like for you from here forward. What does that look like to you? How do you get to win? What is a future that you want to start today to make decisions to get you one step closer each day to a life where you get to win? Win with money, win with business, win with relationships, win with your kids, whatever that means to you. I want to hear about it because you're worth that life. You're deserving of that life. And we can work on mindset all day long, but you have to recognize that you are the one that created the beliefs and the behaviors you're operating in now. And if it's not getting you the results you want, it's great news, because you get to change that. And it's not going to be easy. And you're going to have to do some digging, and you're going to have to do some work, probably some therapy, some woo-woo, get that stuff out of your head. But there is a future where you get everything that you want. And I want that for you. So that's your call to action today on today's episode, is DM me with what winning looks like to you and how this episode may or may not have impacted you. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I will see you next week. Have a good one.